All right, welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Do Hard Things Weekly Wake Up. This week's topic, don't be an asshole.
Wow.
It's a great way to start the week. In a world full of assholes, don't be an asshole. So yeah, I want to talk about just being kind. And there's a lot of unease and tension in the world, and a lot of people generally being jerks and just being shitty to one another. And probably use a lot of curse words in this one, so earmuffs if you got kiddos around. But yeah, that's kind of the topic. I want to talk about kindness. If you want kindness in the world, you got to sprinkle it there. And I think if you're listening to this podcast, you're someone that's aware of yourself, and you're probably aware that the world could use some more kindness. And it's incumbent. If you want kindness in the world, we've got to put it there. So what do you think about that, Tom?
Oh, man, I'm going to agree. This is an interesting topic. I want to know where you're going to go with this, because I have my own thoughts about this and my own thoughts about kindness. So, what spurred you on to don't be an asshole? What does that mean? What is an asshole?
Well, when I think of an asshole, I think of my biological father. just a douche, just angry all the time. The type that if someone were to cut you off in traffic, you slam on the horn and you're like giving them the bird, just going out of your way to be a jerk to someone else. Just negative. It's basically not having control of your emotions and really not doing anything about it and going out of your way to be a jerk to someone. I'll post something on social media, and there are a handful of people. I never see them unless I post something that might be a little politically charged. And then they're all up in there, and then they're just going out of their way to like being a jerk to someone.
Yeah, and I've seen it firsthand. And my response is, what an asshole.
Yes.
Right? That's what you usually say to these guys.
And there are times that I feel like I'm an asshole, and I got to remind myself to not be an asshole, because sometimes I get cut off in traffic, and I get those moments of just like, especially on a very frustrating day. But it's having psychological control of your emotions.
Okay. So when else are you an asshole?
When else? I don't know. If I'm just in a bad mood, I don't want to be around people. Like I wear my emotions on my sleeve, and without even knowing it, like people know that I just don't want to be there. I need to be in a private space to like recharge. Like, if I'm in a long meeting at work, I'm just like, okay, I have a pet peeve with that type of stuff, because it's like, this doesn't include me anymore. Like, I don't want to be here anymore. I wear my emotions on my sleeve, like things like that. And then I can be a jerk to people, just not intentionally. I just come off being very short.
Yeah. Okay. Here's what I like about people who are assholes. Here's what I like.
Before you go into that, I love that you say that, because there's a question. Think of someone that you despise and what's a good quality about them, because and I'm interested to hear where you go with this. So go ahead.
Okay. So I wrote this down. Number one, assholes don't care what other people think. In many ways, they don't. They take action. So that's the person who's going to cut you off in the fast food drive-through line. They're going to cut you off. They take action. They're direct. They usually act confidently and boldly, and they're usually more motivated. And that's what makes them stand out. They stand out. That person's an asshole because of those qualities. Now, the way they do their actions is what makes them an asshole. But some of those qualities are actually pretty good qualities when you think about it.
I like that you're identifying the positive in this. That's awesome, because you're absolutely right. Despite them being an asshole, they know what they want, and they're being very direct about getting it. Yeah. They're being assertive, right?
And I'll tell you something about that. Assholes, people who are assholes, they're proactive people. They take action, and there's a power in being an asshole. Now, the reason why I say that is we're going to go to the flip side of being kind. And when I hear the word kind, sometimes I think of a person as meek and weaker. There's something more powerful about being an asshole than being kind. And that's why that asshole dominates and stands out.
Yes. And as soon as you said that, there are a lot of kind people that are meek And the one phrase that stands out in my head is, "Don't mistake kindness for weakness."
Right.
And so
Yep.
I guess ultimately what we're trying to do is connect the dots. Assholes can be assertive. There are some positive things about being assholes. There's a great thing about being kind, but you can also be weak and meek. So how can you be kind while still having the positive characteristics of an assertive asshole?
Yeah,
So
yeah, exactly. You know, it's interesting. When I was living in Toronto, I would walk by people. Toronto Canadians are usually pretty friendly. Well, at least they used to be. And I would walk a walk, 30 minutes, an hour, walk the dog. I would say hello to everybody. And the number, good morning. How are you? Pleasant day out, whatever. And the number of people who put their heads down and didn't say anything or looked me straight in the face and didn't say anything. I'm like, you're a fucking asshole.
yeah,
Or maybe you're shy. Here in Costa Rica, I'll tell you right now, you say hello to somebody, they're going to say hello back. They say good morning, they say hello. Kids, little kids say good morning to adults. And I'm
yeah,
like, everybody's friendly here. Everybody's kind. If there's a problem on the side of the street, they help each other out. I have a feeling people are so neck deep in their own insecurities, their own problems, their own situations, that kindness is thrown out the window and they're just surviving. And that's why you see such a polarization of society where you can't even look at another person and say, I want to hear their side of their point of view, because they're struggling. There's challenges right now.
yeah. Well, and it's designed to be that way.
Yep.
I firmly believe that the media and politics is designed to be divisive right now, and it's
Yep.
causing us to be shitty to one another, to be an asshole to your fellow, to your fellow human being next to you.
Yep.
Um, and I just, it makes my heart hurt.
And
Uh,
social media doesn't hurt. Social media doesn't help it.
no, well, I think people kind of going back to people can be meek out in public, but when you're behind the keyboard or hiding behind a screen in your
Yeah.
cozy bedroom, it's easy to come out and say something horrible.
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
we've got another podcast in a community. It's Budget Overland's the name of it, and that community is blowing up. And the reason for it is because overlanding is just car camping. It's vehicle dependent car camping. So you have all these sites, but there's
Yeah.
all these people in here like judging what other people have, calling people
Really.
names. And so we've created this community and we guard it and shield it. And we've got so many people in there creating this positive space. It's just amazing to me how like a camping group can turn out to be so cringy and people are so crappy to one another. And because we've created the space, now we've created a podcast around it. It's basically just we're reminding people to be kind to one another and help one another go out and camp. But it's
Yeah.
just it blows me away when I go in these other groups that are similar. It's just like how horribly people are talking to one another. But
Yeah.
yet again, when you go out to the trail and you actually meet up with people to go trail ride, nicest people. It's like, where are all these assholes? Well, I think a lot of them are hiding behind their keyboard.
I think so. I think
Yeah.
so. I have a feeling that if you gave somebody the winning ticket for a lottery and they won $10 million, they would be a lot more friendly. I think if you had a person find their ideal mate and they're totally in love, they'd be a lot more friendly. Um, what's the other situation I was going to say? If they had a fitter body and they were just moving around a little bit more, they'd be a little more happy. Right. I think people, like I said, I think they're drowning in their own self-pity, their own
Mm.
victimhood, their own misery, that they don't have the time to be kind.
Misery loves company, right?
Very much so. I think people are inherently more negative than they are positive.
Yeah. It's easier to be negative than it is to be positive. And it's one of the things we teach is how to pivot your emotions, be aware of your emotions. And I know for me, when I'm down in a negative space, I got to be very conscious because I can have a resting bitch face, if you will. And that's one of the
Yeah.
things we also talk about in physiology. You may not even intend to be an asshole, but because of your just natural look and your demeanor, you can come off that way. So I've got to remind myself to smile because I can have like a rest or RBF, they call it. And especially if I'm like not on my A game, I'm in a kind of more of a negative space. I don't do it on purpose, but I got to be aware of it and
Yeah. Yeah.
reminding myself that, I can choose to be happy, but it's a practice. It's definitely a
Yeah.
practice, but it's
Yeah.
worthwhile doing.
Yeah, without a doubt. A long time ago, a buddy of mine said, if you were a professional wrestler, Tom, I think you'd be a villain. Like, why would you say that? Right? Because I think people look at me and they'll say, hey, he's got a tendency to be an asshole. Maybe more so than you. I don't see those qualities in you. I actually see those qualities a little more in me, right? Even though I think I'm the exact opposite of an asshole. I am bold and confident, and sometimes people mistake that for being an asshole. But
Yeah.
but in terms of actions, the idea of being kind, I think, can become more powerful where you become a force for good. And here's where I'm going with that, Jay. Being a force for good rather than just being kind is, who am I going to connect with today that's going to make a difference?
Yeah.
Who am I going to reach out to and give a compliment to and be proactive with this? Who am I going to see on the side of the road who might need some help or at the grocery store? Here, let me get that cart out of the way for you, for example. What am I going to do to proactively give that act of kindness? And I think you have to have that at the forefront of your mind every day and practice it to make this world a better place.
Yeah,
What are your thoughts?
absolutely. Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. I mean, it's really difficult, even if you're in a foul mood, if you're actively engaged in gratitude or doing something nice for someone else, it's
Yeah.
very difficult to stay in a foul mood, and we'll do more for other people than we will ourselves. So one of the things that I learned, I really appreciated about the Live Hard program is the very last 30-day segment, you had to have a conversation with someone and you
Mm-hmm.
had to do a random act of kindness every day. And I tried to do a different random act of kindness. And I tried to involve people as much as possible. And it felt really, really good. And people were so surprised by it because it's so uncommon these days. Like when someone, it could be something as simple as buying someone the next cup of coffee in the Starbucks line, and people are like blown away by that. Even the baristas behind the bar, like, oh, that's you're so amazing.
Yes.
Why? It's just sad that should be so amazing, right? I wish it was more common. I wish it was like, okay, cool, that's awesome. You have a great day. I wish, but no, it's like, oh, I gotta tweet this. Someone just bought a coffee behind the guy for the next customer.
Yeah, it's a bigger deal now with coffees being so expensive, right?
Yeah. It's cheaper a cup of coffee costs as much as a gallon of gas. It's crazy. It's nuts. But yeah, I wish it were more commonplace. And I think that's kind of the point today is that if we want kindness there, we need to take an active role in putting it there and doing more random acts of kindness. And like you said, showing people, even in our circle, a sign of love and appreciation. And it doesn't have to be anything fantastic, but just, I don't know, telling someone you appreciate them, leaving a note, just something small. Those things matter. They make an impact.
Yeah, big time. We're inherently selfish people. Jay, the world doesn't revolve around you, but your world revolves around you. Everything you do revolves around you, whether we want to admit that or not. That's just the way it is. My world revolves around me. I have certain players in my life that I'm going to take care of and I'm going to worry about, right? So it's okay to be selfish. It's okay to be selfish, okay? Because we all are.
Mm-hmm.
Having said that, to be proactive and do something special for somebody, or at least reach out and act kind, you can't not feel good about it.
Yeah.
Right. And from a selfish standpoint, you're going to feel better doing that.
Yeah. And so the little, making that intentional habit on a more consistent basis will put a little bit more fulfillment in your life. And you never know when you do something kind, especially for a stranger, you have no idea what they're going through. And that could fundamentally change their mood or their day,
Yeah.
And so I think we need more of that in the world. We need more of that.
And I'll tell you how easy it is. Somebody will post something on Facebook. And, it's actually kind of sad when I see some of these posts because a person will post the fact that they broke their arm, for example. They're advertising the fact that they broke their arm and they're, woe is me. Like, I will not post that kind of stuff. That's my business. I'm not going to share it with the world. I'm not looking for validation, but they're looking for something when they post that. I think it's a little weak. I think it's a little lame, but you know what I end up doing? I end up sending them a message. And it's usually a comment. I'm not going to send them a DM and say, hey, buddy, hang in there, because that's what they're looking for.
Yeah.
Right. And it's something as easy as that you can do on Facebook. And, you know, somebody says, hey, look at me. I just wanted to let you know that I won the award, the real estate award for selling this many houses. Do you really need to post that? Obviously, they need something. So again, I don't mind saying, hey, good job, bud. Keep it going. Right. That's how, as simple as it is with social media, to show some kindness.
Yeah.
Because obviously they're posting like that for a reason.
Yeah. Well, it feels good. We could talk about, you know, celebrating your wins, whether it's something that's needed, or I mean, they're proud of that moment, so they want to share it with the world. Totally cool. But you know, sometimes you'll scroll through and you see someone just make a smart ass comment. It's like, is that really necessary? Like, was it? Couldn't you just scrolled on? Never. Like, you went out of your way to take a moment to say something, to think of something snarky to say and post it, when you could have easily just scrolled on.
Yeah.
And that's being an asshole.
Yeah, that's being an asshole. And I look at that person, I go, man, that person's really hurting.
Yeah.
Right. That person is really hurting. And that's usually the person, you know, on something like TikTok or Instagram with no face to their picture. They'll have a picture of a cat, as you know, as opposed to their face. And kind of like, you know what, you're pretty pathetic, right? But yeah,
anonymous asshole.
Exactly, anonymous asshole. But people do that. And I got to say, hey, this person's really hurting. There's a reason why. You know, the old saying, hurting people hurt people. So you can just kind of, you know, instead of fighting back and being reactive, you go, okay, I understand what's going on with that person. He's still an asshole, but there's a reason for that.
It's the ultimate challenge is to be kind to an asshole.
Oh man, tell me about it.
That's hard. That's hard to do, right?
Dude, you know, I'm 9 times out of 10, I say, fuck that, man. They can be an asshole and gonna, you know, rot in their own situation.
Yeah. No, you know, we all, you know, if you're listening to this or watching this, you probably know someone in your life that's an asshole. And maybe sometimes it's hard because sometimes you have to work with people like that and you can't get away from them. But, you know, I tell people as much as possible, you need to get that negativity out of your space. So distance yourself from it as much as possible, which is why, you know, I have really tuned out a lot of the news. I don't spend, you know, I monitor who I'm with in my social media, and it still pops up, but it's not nearly as prevalent as it used to be by virtue of who I let in my space. And you got to guard that space. And unfortunately, people are just going to be assholes, and you're going to have to deal with them when they come. But you can definitely mitigate that by putting up some boundaries.
Yeah, big time. I always say this in an argument. Usually, what happens is the person with the highest energy wins, and that's why assholes usually win. They just have higher energy. So when you've got an asshole versus a person who's kind, that asshole's probably going to win unless you jack up that kind person. That person is no longer a kind person. That person's a force for good.
Yeah.
I'll tell you right now, never mind this random act of kindness today. I'm going to be a force for good today. I'm going to do something really significant today. That's my challenge based on this podcast. I'm going to do something that's a force for good. I'm going to be that person today. And I don't know where that's going to take me. I know I'm going out, I'm going to go shopping, doing something, and I'm going to find an opportunity to be that force for good rather than just say hello and be kind.
Yeah.
I'm going to be kind on steroids.
I like that. Force for good. I got a list of ideas here for strangers. So it's giving an unexpected compliment.
Yeah.
Planting a tree. Let someone cut in front of you in line. Pay the toll for the car behind you, or it could be, you know, food for someone behind you. Slow down for someone so they can merge in traffic. Let someone else take the prime parking spot. Give yourself a seat on a crowded bus or subway. Put coins in the expired parking meter. Buy a warm meal for someone in need. Help someone struggling, carrying something. Stop to assist someone who looks lost. Say something encouraging to a parent dealing with a rambunctious kid. That's a good one. Because I tell you what, I am at my wit's end when my kids were misbehaving at a store. You're trying to get them to calm down. You're worried about everyone else, like thinking you're a horrible parent.
Yeah, big time.
But just, you know, I know what it's like. You got this. You know, saying something like that is good. Leave a great coupon or a gift card to somebody. Hand out disposable water bottles to people working outside on a hot day. Let's see here. Buy lemonade from a child's lemonade stand. These are all like little good ones. But you can Google stuff. There's little things that you can do.
I like that.
Yeah.
Now, having said that, Jay, usually what happens is most people do this and they do it for themselves. You see that? I let somebody in and I feel good. And there's nothing wrong with that, right? You do something nice and you feel good because you did that. I want to take it to the next level. I'm not talking to the audience. I'm talking to me, and take it to the next level and do it solely for their reasons. So when I compliment somebody, it's not to make myself feel good about complimenting them. It's to actually genuinely make that person feel better.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be my challenge today, right? So it's not about me. It's about that other person. What can I do or say that really impacts the person from the most unselfish standpoint? Like that whole lemonade stand thing, when you see a kid hustling and selling lemonade or cookies or whatever by the side of the street, I'm stopping. I don't want to part with my money, but that kid is going to be an entrepreneur. I want to reward the hustle. That's the big thing. That kid will not forget that moment, right? That's for him or her. I'm stopping, and I'm going to give that person a big tip. They're not going to forget me, but they're not going to forget the experience. They're going to say, this was worth it. I'm going to keep doing it. Right. And those are the opportunities I think we need to look for.
Yeah, absolutely. We want to reward that behavior and go out of our way to do that type of stuff. Absolutely. Absolutely. So many things that you can do. Just if you want kindness in the world, you got to sprinkle it out there.
Yeah. So the challenge today is to actually do that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Force for good.
Force for good. I love force for good because it sounds powerful. It sounds like intention. It sounds like you're taking action.
That's going to beat out the asshole.
Yes, absolutely. All right. Well, let me, this week's spotlight winner is one of my favorite people. And this is Sherry Wilson. Sherry Wilson just finished a 50-miler over the weekend. She's an Ironman athlete. She's an endurance runner, completed her first 50-miler. She was sick leading up to the days of it. And we did the Sweaty Santa Ultra Run, and I was out there to finish up with her on her last lap. But I've ran Ragnar with her. She's an amazing person. She spent a career United States Army as a military police officer. And you want to talk about a kind person, but assertive, bold, someone you don't want to mess with. You do not want to mess with Sherry Wilson. She's amazing, but she'll cut your throat if you cross her. She's one of those people you want to have in your corner. So, Sherry, we've had some. I think you're gonna. She's probably laughing seeing this shirt because she would just think of the last time we were at Ragnar and that lady cut us off. She's one of those people that will do anything for you, but don't cross her. Don't cross her friends.
She looks like a kind and gentle warrior, and I would love to see her day. Love to be a fly on the wall, seeing her wear the "Don't Be an Asshole" shirt. and see how people respond to her, because I guarantee you she's probably witty enough that she's going to put some people in their place and put some smiles on their faces too.
She does both of that very well. She's an amazing human being. But yes, you described her well as a warrior, like a kind warrior, and that's what we all should aspire to be. That's what Jordan Peterson talks about a lot. It's like, be the monster, be a monster. You know. Be a protector, be the person that can handle it at a funeral. Not saying these things are easy, but just have your stuff together. And, Sherry's one of those people that I'm just honored to know, and just awesome to see her grit and determination over the weekend. So, but yeah, that's so this week's topic. Don't be an asshole. Be a force for good.
Yeah, be a force for good. Yeah,
right.
I love it. Love it, man.
Well, anything else you want to highlight before we call it a morning?
Again, this is a call to action. This is the weekly wake up. What are you going to do today with intention to be that force for good? What are you going to do? I know some of you may be hurting. Some of you may be struggling. Some of you may be knee deep in debt. You're hurting. Be that force for good regardless. That's
be a force for good. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And if you want to take it to the next level, we've got the Forge Goal Crushing Mastermind that meets up on Wednesday nights. I'm also doing we got a couple meetings throughout the week, but it's a goal crushing community of amazing people. So if you're ready to step it up a notch, you can go that route. That's an opportunity for you. You can reach out to Tom. You can reach out to myself, because we both offer one-on-one coaching. And, sometimes you just need a new perspective or just some guidance from someone that's been there and can help you kind of see the forest from the trees. And so my challenge to all of you, one, do a random act of kindness, show some appreciation for someone. But my question to you is, how are you going to finish 2022 on top? And we're at the halfway point of this year. So go crush them goals, make an impact, make a difference, do hard things.
Yeah, right on, man.
All right. Well, have a great Monday, Tom. And
You too.
we'll talk to you soon.
Right. Take care.
Everyone else out there, do hard things.